Phone up the auto-injector Naloxone, Evzio, no mention, rescue breathing.
Thank you for calling. For more information about Evzio Naloxone HCl injection, auto-injectors, customer service. If this is a medical emergency, please hang up and dial 911. If you are calling to report a possible adverse event or product complaint, please press the star key at any time. Hey, please hold
Press
while we
the star key.
In case you are disconnected, the direct number is 855-625-696. If after hours or the line is busy, please leave a voicemail and your call will be returned.
Now we got the funky music.
Call may be recorded for quality assurance purposes. Thank you for calling Kaleo Medical Information. Please hold for the next available consultant.
A pharmacist, no doubt. Consultants are usually pharmacists.
This is Lisa. How may I assist you?
Lisa, this is Gary Thompson calling from Toronto, Canada. It's about the Evzio Naloxone auto-inject.
The what?
The Evzio, the auto-injector naloxone opiate overdose medication.
Okay, FDA, yes.
Yeah, the FDA. I've talked to the FDA. Well, Scott Gottlieb, the commissioner of the FDA, just made a press release on January the 17th. And he mentions that this is the first time the FDA's got actively involved in writing a protocol. Well, the protocol that the FDA has makes no mention of respiratory assist, either for the nasal or for the auto-inject. Up on the FDA's website. I phoned the FDA. See, I've been working as a harm reduction worker for years. And it's respiratory assist. You go to the drug information handbook for the pharmacist. Naloxone's not to be a replacement for first aid rescue breathing. And every pharmacist knows it because I went to medical school, And in a chemistry lab, the first thing you get taught is what to do for any kind of poisoning or drug overdosage. You got to give them some air, Because they're cyanotic, labored breathing, pinpoint pupils. All those signs are one of any respiratory emergency, right? Anyway, you guys getting a lot of complaints from customers or anything?
No.
You're not?
No, with the FDA, the prescribing information that is for the Evzio is approved by the FDA.
Yeah.
It would have to be something you would speak with them about.
Well, I've talked to them years ago, right? Do you know that some places teach chest compressions only? Yeah, the patient's alive, and then they say give chest compressions only.
Right, they've changed the CPR.
Well, there was a coroner's inquest. No, there's a coroner's inquest that ended December the 20th. Dr. Aaron Orkin was on the stand. He is the co-author of the 2015 resuscitation guidelines on opiate overdose. On the stand in court, he changed his mind. He says first aid rescue breathing saves lives. I'm also publishing the 2015 resuscitation guidelines, AHA and ILCOR. I'm also publishing Emergency Medicine News, the British Medical Journal, all over the place about giving rescue breathing, right? Patients hypoxic. Because our morgues are full of non-drug overdoses and drug overdoses that shouldn't be there. They've been published in the newspaper, all the signs and symptoms of opiate overdose. Don't give them any air, or either give them chest compressions. 20% of the time people leave their naloxone elsewhere. Yeah, and then they're getting chest compressions only and no air. I know parents that have killed their own children. I know parents that when they found out that they killed their own children, committed suicide. Yeah. Yeah, well, of course, right? That puts them in extreme emotional trauma. We had a shooter here on the Danforth Avenue, shot a whole bunch of people. His brother is in a permanent coma from an opiate overdose. You know what? It hasn't gone to court yet, but I'm surmising that he was so distraught that nobody gave him his brother rescue breathing. He picked up a gun and started shooting people. I told in public health years ago, I said, somebody's going to kill their own child or something, and they're going to be so distraught they're going to come into this office and shoot a bunch of your staff. Think about it. This is the kind of thing that happens. There was 1,000 doctors signed a letter, and we went to the premier of our province, that's like the U.S. governor, and our medical officer of health, and it was co-signed to the federal minister of health, and the chief coroner of the province, and the medical officer of health for the province. And we had to sit down with the premier August 28th, 2017, and told the premier to stop murdering everyone. Yeah. The only politicians that I know have said anything is the mayor of Toronto with the Toronto's medical officer of health, man, 2016, January 9th, at a press conference and said rescue breathing is the most important part for a drug overdose. And the mayor says, this is what's causing people to lose their lives, quite literally. And the only other politician I've seen say anything in front of camera, he got himself kicked out of City Hall for asking a medical officer of health, how come he's not in jail? Why are you not in jail? Yeah. There's been all kinds of people.
The FDO. Well, for the FDO, it does on the prescribing information that comes with the medication.
Yeah.
It does say that,
Seek emergency medical care.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah, I know, I read it.
that resuscitative measures are needed.
Yeah.
But I will send them a report that people are concerned that it does not say.
Yeah, respiratory assist first, because people leave it elsewhere, and respiratory assist first to stabilize the patient, right? You're hypoxic, you probably have a racing heart, right? Tachycardia. And oxygen will lower that, and plus their blood chemistry's all gone toxic, right? You want to stabilize the person first, because it might be a polydrug overdose, all kinds of things. Naloxone, you just don't keep banging away and giving more naloxone, more naloxone, more naloxone. That's not good medicine at all. Sometimes we've got overdose prevention sites up here, and 60% of the time when we get an overdose, we're just giving them oxygen and they wake up on their own. Yeah. And oxygen's getting used more and more, and naloxone's getting used less and less. Because 15% of the time, the naloxone's not working, so we have to call EMS. There's a lot of flailing and chest rigidity with that fentanyl that's going around lately. Anyway,
Right.
And you know what?
Bill,
Every child knows it's wrong. Because you get taught in Boy Scouts. I go up to Boy Scouts and Girl Guides and I show them the protocol that you guys are teaching. They go, that's wrong. You got to give the mare. That's a poisoning. The little kids know it's wrong. Of course, I know it at 5 years old. Breathe or you die. I took it in grade 2. I still have my grade 2 school textbook about rescue breathing. I took it in grade 4, and then in grade 6, and then in grade 8, and then again in high school. And I first took first aid in Boy Scouts, right? Beavers. Anyway, I'm just trying to save lives. That's all, ma'am. It's a very simple thing. Eh? You think?
Well, I will.
Yeah.
Right, I'm making a report. We report anything to the manufacturer, so I will send this over to them and let them know the concern, and also it will just include your name and that we.
Yeah, well, I'll give you my name and phone number and contact information. How about that, eh?
Okay. All right. What's your phone number?
647-864-6609. And my email is the letter J and then Gary, Gary, dot Thompson, Thompson,
Okay.
at mail, MAIL, dot letter U, Toronto, dot .ca. That's Gary.Thompson at mail.utoronto.ca for the University of Toronto. I've given lectures to the medical students. Do you know what happens? I'm prepared to give a 30-minute lecture to the medical students. It takes 5 minutes. They got their head down on their desk crying. I know. Because the medical students know wrong. I gave a lecture to the forensic toxicology class. Dr. Michael Corbett, the most esteemed toxicologist in North America. Took 5 minutes. The doctors and had their heads on their desk crying in 5 minutes. Dr. Corbett, do you know what he says? That's the best lecture I've heard in a long time. I says, Doctor, how do I stop this? He says, Gary, you got to get creative. I pull out 50 cents out of my pocket and hand it to him. I says, maybe you should make a phone call and save your own life in case you have a stroke or diabetic coma or get an injury or an illness that's a respiratory emergency that mimics drug overdose. You know what? He's waiting for a class action suit to get up because he's the guy they call. He cannot be bought. That's why they call Dr. Michael Corbett the toxicologist. He makes a lot of money.
Yes, I will include this. I'm going to send this over.
Yes, ma'am.
You call in, and I will put your phone number and your email address.
Thank you very much. I've already got an incident report with the nasal. Who makes whatever? What's the people? The manufacturers of the nasal. I got an incident report from them. I talked to the FDA. When you put an incident report in, you talk to a pharmacist. Pharmacist knows right away that's wrong. Right? Anyway, you have a great day, and I'm like the psychiatrist. I had a psychiatrist in my class taking upgrading in neuroscience. You know what she says? She says, Gary's the sanest person in the whole province trying to stop mass murder. I says, Doctor, what about you? She says, leave my name out of it. Because doctors, they're worse than the thin blue line, the police department. Police won't rat out on their buddies, but doctors are even worse, as their own family members are being killed. Jeepers, it's crazy, boy. Anyway, have a good one.
Okay, you too. Thank
Yeah, have a great day.
you too.
Bye-bye.